lightweight women's double sculls, kindly sponsored by Wentworth House Partnership. And we're down at the start now for the next race, thick and fast, every 5 minutes. Elite lightweight single sculls, this is a final. And here we have two scullers, one in Edinburgh University and the other one from Aspos, which is a rowing club in the Netherlands.
This is a good quality race again. Robin Hart-Winks of Edinburgh on the right-hand side of your screen there, and Miriam Box from the Netherlands on the left-hand side of your screen. So it seems to be the sculler from the Netherlands who's just taken a bit of an early lead. A really fine quality sculler, I believe, international level at the under-23s. Robin Hart-Winks, who looking to contest at the World University Championships in the lightweight single scull later on this year. So, two fantastic athletes again, and in the single scull, we've just seen the doubles there responding really well to different pressures. In the single, it's even more important, I think, to be able to have it up here in the head, to not let things get you when somebody's up ahead, which I think Robin from Edinburgh certainly has proved to come down from behind before. I think we'll have to see whether she can do that again.
Well, she's had slightly the tougher passage through to the final. She was tested pretty strongly by the sculler from Mortlake in the semi, and the girl from the Netherlands had a slightly easier passage here, winning her semi-final easily. But that's all in the past. It's about what's happening now. And at 31 strokes a minute, it is the Scottish sculler that is rating 31. Now we can see her coming into shot here. Has a lead over the Dutch sculler. The Dutch sculler has responded. She's gone up to 33 strokes a minute. So another fine race here.
This is very tight, and you don't often see single sculls this closely, within overlap. There's usually a bit of spare water in between them to chop and change, but I think we've got some good overlap between these two singles, and it looks quite bumpy from what I can see, Martin. It's a tough race into a headwind for these lightweight single scullers and these lightweight women, so it's going to be a really tough challenge, not only to push yourself for the whole 1,500 metres physically, but also contend technically with those sorts of conditions.
Yeah, I'm just looking out the window, and certainly on this side, the Berkshire side, the trees are just blowing around a bit. I'm not so sure that it's a direct wind as much as blustery. However, they are coping extremely well with the conditions. They're coming up now to the halfway point, and the crowd are getting interested here, moving down the river, giving them a bit of a shout as they go past us. There's now just over a length that separates the two crews.
And I think, as they come into the last 500 metres, the wind will be quite interesting. These crews have both been sat in and around the sort of 31, 32 marker, which you'd expect with a bit of a wind against the back. That's quite tough. And who's got the better wind? If you're within a length of somebody in a single scull, I would expect the Dutch sculler to come, moving on back. We're back up at the start now with the final of the Junior Eights, who have just started roaring off the start.
Well, this is one that there'll be lots of mummies, and on Father's Day, some daddies are going to be very happy here. This is between Headington School and the National Cathedral School from the United States of America. So an international event. This one for the Peabody Cup, kindly sponsored by Star Capital Partners. And it is Headington School on the right-hand side nearest to the bank, and the National Cathedral School USA over on the far side, and they really are giving it plenty here as they tore out of the blocks. Headington School, fantastic pedigree, particularly in junior eights, and the Americans have come over here, and they have a bit of pedigree and decent history as well. But it is Headington that have a lead now. They're just about at a length as they're heading through the car parking area. So they are probably about 4, maybe 500 metres now into this race. And you can see here Headington trying to break clear, just psychologically trying to break that gap or extend the gap between the two eights.
Absolutely, the elastic band, as we like to call it. You know, as long as there's overlap, there's always a chance that you can be reeled back in. And Headington, right now, will just be trying to break that clear water to get that sort of psychological, head start this early in the race, so that they can drop them and start focusing on themselves. And it must be incredible how many times Headington School's name must be etched onto that Peabody Cup. I'm sure it's quite a lot. They have a real tradition in this event, a real pedigree, as you mentioned, and Ryan Demain, who heads up their programme, always puts a really big focus onto the eights for this event, and always performs.
You can see from the overhead shot here that Headington are trying to just break free of the Americans. The British boat is rigged traditionally, and the Americans have gone for a bucket style rig. Now, this we were debating and chatting about the other day, and a wise old sage came up to me and said the reason it's called bucket is because if you look at it, it looks like a bucket, and it does.
Indeed, I think that's probably. So I would always call it a tandem, though. That's always.
Oh well, that's another one to throw in. Yeah.
So there
However,
you go.
it's not working, is it? Because they are second and Headington are ahead, and I know there's lots and lots of people listening and having a look at these wonderful images here at Henley Royal. So if you're in the States and screaming at your laptops or TV screens, they're halfway down the course. And it's Headington presently that have a lead by 1.5 lengths.
And it's great to see Headington carrying on the tradition in this race, in this Peabody Cup. It's kindly sponsored by Star Capital Partners. They, I think, won the national schools. They have a really good history at the national schools head of the river as well. And some of the girls have been sculling here this weekend as well, so it's good to see some strength and depth in a women's school programme where they can produce such top quality crews across the board in many different events. And
they're looking very, very good indeed here as they are making their way down the course past a landmark known as Old Blades towards Upper Thames Rowing Club, and then the wind up presumably for a big finish down at Remenham Club. And there we can see Headington, and that is a marvellous sight, isn't it, to watch an 8 in full flow.
Absolutely. And I know that Ryan Demain, you see that beautiful blue Resolute there. I know that Ryan, who heads up the programme there, really favours the Resolute for women's eights. They are the only boat manufacturers, as claimed, that make boats specifically for women. They have a shorter bow. If you see from some of the images here on the screen, they have a much stubbier bow in comparison to the boat from the USA. And that's to sort of compensate for the weight distribution and everything that you get with women's crews, which I find quite interesting. And he's always stuck by it, always used the Resolutes, and it seems to be paying off for them.
And they're rowing very, very tidily here. Headington moving away now from their opponents, and they're trying everything. They really are trying everything here at National Cathedral School from the United States of America, but they're not able to close the gap on the British school champions, I suppose we'd term them, as they come up towards the finish line now, raise their arms. Yep, usual story, bit of a splash, high fives, lots of congratulations. Nobody standing up in the boat. I like that. I don't really enjoy them standing up in the boat. That is brilliant. Well done